and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to teach you how to add rounded corners. But before we get started, if you like my video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. As well, if this video is useful for you or for somebody else that you may know, don't forget to share it with them. You might be helping somebody else. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so to get started with CSS rounded corners here and how to add them into your style, I want you to go to the same website that we've been using all this time, w3schools.com. You will go all the way down to the CSS advanced section. And the reason that I want to show you how to do this is because I'm pretty sure that whenever you are coding your website, you are going to be asked in certain job or by your clients or from whoever you're creating the site to add sometime this type of style. So let's go ahead and dig into it. Remember, we're going to be using the code that we've been working so far with, and I already have this open and I have my Visual Studio Code open. So let's go ahead and read first a little bit. So CSS rounded corners with the CSS Border Radius property is how you can give any element rounded corners. So how do we do this into our code? First, let's read a little bit more and then I'm going to show you more examples. So the CSS Border Radius properties defines the radius of an element's corner. So this property allows you to add rounded corners to the elements. And here are the examples. You will see them at W3 Schools. So first, we have an element which has a background color, and then as you can see, it has all the four corners rounded. Then you will have an element with a border and it's rounded, and then you will have an element with a background image, and as well it is rounded. Now here is the code that you're going to be using. It's very simple and self-explanatory, but well, you use the border radius property and you are going to give it some value. Okay, it could be pixels, it could be percentage, it could be points, however you want them to be. Same measurements. Now, here's a quick tip. So the border radius property is actually a shorthand property for border top left radius, top right radius, top bottom, and top bottom left radius. And we've seen this, I believe, in our previous chapter for CSS borders, right? But I just wanted to touch this, separately because we're going to add some images and I want you to see how that's going to look like. So the values here for the radius, we have 15 pixels, we have 50 pixels, 30 pixels, 5 pixels, and they are applied in the following way. The first value, it's applied to the top left corner. Then the second one, it's applied to the top right corner. Then the other one to the top bottom right corner. And the fourth value applies to the bottom left corner. So have that in mind because we are going to use that in a moment. And here are just a couple of examples in how it'll be if you apply certain type of pixels or some type of values here. And that'll make your element look a little bit different. Okay, so let's go ahead and play around with this because we are going to be applying a radius to our corners. And you can also create elliptical corners as it says here. And we're going to go ahead and actually take a look at that. As I said before, you can add on the value pixels, you can add percentage. So we're going to work with pixels, just so you know here. So let's go ahead and go back to our code. Okay, let's go back to our code. And here we already have two examples. Okay, now here's one thing that I want to do. I am going to just go online and I am going to search for an image. Okay, so any image will do. So let's find, I don't know, let's say a dog image. Okay, so dog images. So let's look for that. And let's download an image here. Okay, let's pick this little puppy. Now I know that some of you might say that I might be uploading or downloading a virus, but I'm hoping that all of you have an antivirus installed on your computer for this. Anyways, going back, I am going to download this image. I'm going to save it as, I'll name it puppy, and we're going to go back to our desktop and I am going to save it in our CSS course in the images in the images file. Okay, remember the name it's puppy. So I'm going to save this there. And now we're going to go back to our HTML code, and I want to add this image here. I bet that you remember how to do that. So go ahead and give it a try. Pause the video. Okay, so now let's go ahead and code it. So first, you have to use the image, and then we're going to say that the source of this image will be our folder images, right? So we are on images, and we are going to look for the puppy.jpg. Okay, so I am going to save this information here, and we're going to go back to our welcome page. I'm going to close this one, by the way, and I'm going to hit refresh. And boom, there you go. So here is our dog. Oh my God, it's huge. Okay, so we want to make this a little bit smaller, and I am going to do this by giving some style to this image. So, okay, so now let's call the image in our style. To do that, we are going to go ahead and go down here, and we're going to call the image here. And let's just give it a try with adding a width of 300 pixels. Okay, and let's add a height of 300 pixels. I'm gonna hit save. Now we're gonna hit refresh. And there you go. I mean, it's not perfect. I know, I understand. The dog looks a little bit weird. However, I just want to give it this. Now to this image, I also want to add a border. So let's go ahead and add a border. And let's go ahead and add a border style. Whoops. Border style. And I want to make this, let's make it solid. And we're going to add a border color. And I'm not shorthand writing this just so you can see everything that I'm doing and you can code along. So blue violet. Let's save this. Let's hit refresh. And there you go. So now you have a border style, which is solid, and this is a color blue violet. Okay, so now we have our image added here because I want to show you also how this is going to look like with the image. Now, one thing that I am going to do here is that I'm going to remove the outline for both of the paragraphs, or actually for both of the boxes that I have on top. I'm actually going to remove both of them here because I want you to see, you know, how it's going to work for the border itself. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to hit refresh, and boom. Now none of our code will have an outline. We only have borders, right? And we have the image here. So going back to rounded corners. So we have to use the border radius, okay? The border radius property, and we're going to go ahead and actually do that. Border radius. And here is to our first box, we're going to give it 10 pixels of radius. And I am only applying 10 pixels, and this is going to be applied to all 4 corners. Keep that in mind. Now let's hit save. And now let's go back to our welcome page and hit refresh. And there you go. You see, now it's 10 pixels rounded. Going back to the second one, I'm going to show you another example. Now on the border radius property, you can go ahead and you can apply this. Remember that we start first with the first corner, left corner top, then we're moving to the right corner top, then the third section will be bottom right corner, and then left bottom corner. Okay, so knowing that, here we're going to apply to the top left only 10 pixels, and then to the other ones we are only going to apply 1 pixels. Actually 1 pixel, 1 pixel, and 1 pixel. Okay, now I'm going to save this, and I want you guys to see that in this red square, the left corner is going to change, and the other ones too, but just 1 pixel, and this one is going to be changed by 10 pixels. So this corner should be a little bit more rounded than the other ones. Okay, so now let's go ahead and hit refresh. Boom, you see? Now this corner is a little bit more rounded. I can even increase the pixels so you guys can see it. Let's do 20. Let's save this and let's hit refresh. See, now it's a little bit more rounded. So That's how you can add a specific radius to each corner. And now finally, let's go ahead and let's move to the image. Now here we already saw 2 examples. I'm just going to leave you guys to practice at home playing around with all 4 corners. I already showed you how to do it, so I'm hoping that this is clear. And if it's not, remember that you can always leave your questions in the comment section below and I will reply as soon as I can. So moving on, here we have an element with a background image, okay? And the background image has a width and a height like the ones we did. And well, in our case, this one, we included a border, right? A border style and color. So you can see a little bit how we're going to round how the rounded corners will look like, right? And I am going to make this to all 4 corners, and we are going to apply something a little bit bigger than the other 2. So let's go ahead and say we want the border radius here. We want this border radius to be, I don't know, let's make it 50 pixels. So let's hit save, and now we're gonna hit refresh. Boom, you see how this is changing? Now it's the border has been cut off, and even the leg of the little dog is being cut off because this is being applied also to the image itself. Remember, it's to the element itself, which is the image. Now let me go ahead and remove the border style and the border color. So you can simply see that still without the border, you're going to see some type of the image a little bit changing, right? So I'm going to save this information. I'm going to hit refresh. Boom, you see here, the leg of the dog, it's still a little bit rounded. Now we're gonna make this a little bit more intense, and let's make it 100 pixels. I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna hit refresh. Boom, you see how it's shrinking? This is because we have 100 pixels to the entire image. And let's make this a little bit more. Let's make it 200 pixels. Now I'm gonna hit refresh and see it's getting a little bit like a circle. And see, this is changing. Now I am going to go ahead and actually apply some border style. Let's apply the same border style like this one right here. Let's make it black, okay? I'm going to save this and I'm gonna hit refresh. Okay, boom, there you go. So you see, now we have like a rounded dog image in here. So this is how you can add rounded corners to all your elements in the website. I hope that this has been so far clear. Remember that you can always visit w3schools.com. You can go here and you can actually, play around with this, read a little bit more, and you can go to more websites that you may know and actually practice more how to add rounded corners and play with it. Because remember, reading and practicing is the best way that you're going to learn how to apply what you've been studying. Okay, it's not just a matter of watching this video and then you're going to become a developer. No, it's a matter of practicing what you're learning. Okay, so that's it for this video. Again, if you have questions, leave them in the comment section below. Now, if you find this video useful for you or for somebody else that you may know, remember that you can always share it with them. You might be helping somebody else. And as well, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you will always get notified every time that I upload a video. And remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye everyone, and see you again in the next episode.